Thank you. Very happy to be here to present Osino. My name is Leily Omoumi. I work as a consultant for the company, and I also work in the corporate development function. Before we get started, I was told this works. The green button. Try the other one. Oh, there you go. Okay. Before we get started, I'd like to draw your attention to our disclaimers, as I'll be making some forward-looking statements. Okay, there we go. I think now we've gone too far. I'm sure we'll figure this out very soon. I need to go back one slide, please. Great, thank you. Okay, Osino is a exploration and development story, active and solely focused in Namibia. The company was really formed after the success of the founders of the company following the sale of their last company to B2Gold. The project became the Otjikoto mine in Namibia, one of B2Gold's most profitable mines in the portfolio. So the team has a track record of value creation. They've done it before. They have deep roots in Namibia. The CEO is from Namibia, born and raised, and very keen on doing the right thing when it comes to responsible mining, and also with deep knowledge of how things work, how the geology works, how the government works, etc. Earlier in September, on September 6th, we released the result of the company's pre-feasibility study on the Twin Hills project, which is the flagship asset for the company. I want to note that the first discovery, the Twin Hills discovery, was made in 2019, and in 3 years, the company went from grassroots discovery to releasing a economic pre-feasibility study in 2022. Oh, sorry, that was my bad. So again, just going back to Namibia, it's a great jurisdiction. It has a very supportive government for mining, very good regulations for the mining sector, long history of mining companies operating successfully in the company. There's gold, uranium, copper, and diamond mining in the country. It's a very big part of the GDP. It makes up about 10% of the GDP in the country. So there's a lot of focus on some of these mining assets that provide a lot of jobs. And Twin Hills, our project, is a pretty high-profile project in the company. And Otjikoto, as I mentioned, is a very successful mine in the country and is one of the biggest employers in Namibia. It's a great place to do business. And you can see Fraser Institute also ranks Namibia very highly. We have a growing team in conjunction with advancing the project at the pace that it has been. A very supportive board, a lot of experience, and most importantly, the board is very aligned with the management team who's very focused on advancing this project forward. Some key statistics. Market cap about 100 million, although we've had a nice bit of move in the stock in the past few days, if you've been following the stock, which is nice to see after the pain we've all been going through the past little while. About $8 million in cash. That number is as of Q2 of 2022. And I'll circle back on that cash position in a bit. We have about 2.2 million ounces in reserves, and overall, company-wide, 4 million ounces in resources. Now, our cash position is a little bit smaller than that number, but yesterday we announced a deal that we just did with Nebari Gold Fund for $15 million US. It's a credit facility that will be drawn in 3 tranches if need be, but we will be drawing on the first tranche, which is $5 million US, to help us with some of the key de-risking measures that we want to take before the company gets to the construction phase. And that is to purchase some farmland to get full surface rights for the project. It's also very important to note that the credit facility that we just announced gives Nebari no preemptive rights or ROFRs, et cetera, that would limit the company's opportunity to run a competitive process for the project finance, which is the next major step for the company. Really strong shareholders. Ross Beatty, B2Gold, owns about 8%. We recently acquired a project from B2 Gold called Undundu, and it was done in shares and cash, and that's the reason we have B2 Gold as a shareholder. Quickly on the geology, Twin Hills is on an orogenic belt. These tend to be large, consistent, occur in clusters, and metallurgically simple, which is something that the PFS or the pre-feasibility study has so far confirmed. As I mentioned earlier, Twin Hills is our flagship asset. It's about 250 kilometers from the Otjikoto mine, very close to the Navachap mine, which was an old Anglo gold mine, been in operations for decades. And it was a grassroots discovery, as mentioned earlier, in 2019, and has progressed pretty quickly to this point. And I think that speaks to the knowledge of the team and how well they understand the geology in the region. Undundu, as you can see, is about 125 kilometers from Twin Hills. It was acquired earlier this year. The drilling was all done by B2 Gold, about 45,000 meters of drilling. We just published an inaugural resource estimate for this asset, just under 1 million ounces, at about 1.13 grams per ton. The idea is a very nuggety asset. The idea is to make a concentrate, high-grade concentrate, and truck the ore to Twin Hills. So we're looking at our options for a co-development scenario, and we'll be releasing a PEA for this project sometime next year, by the middle of next year. I want to get into the findings of the pre-feasibility study that was released early September. So the PFS is based on 2.1 million ounces in reserves, 3 ounces in resources, has a 13-year mine life, but most importantly, the first years of operation, we have average production of 169,000 ounces at $930 per ounce. Grades are quite a bit higher in the first 4 years or 5 years of operation, as you can see, about 1.28. There are some high-grade zones, high-grade chutes. The idea is to mine and stockpile and obviously bring those higher grades forward in the mine plan and take advantage of the higher cash flows. This also increases the ability for the company to take on debt and pay that back quickly. CapEx is $375 million for a 5 million tons per annum plant. It's important to remember this was just released, so the inflationary pressures that we've been seeing are priced into this number. We do think there are opportunities to improve on that number. There's few areas, especially fuel, like everything is, priced for the moment, and we do think that number can come down. Some more metrics in terms of the life of mine. The full 13 years production is a bit lower, 152, because your later years production drops off a little bit, but the idea is to continue exploring, find high grades, and backfill on that production. Very simple mine plan. There are 4 pits, 3 bigger pits, 1 small pit. Very simple in terms of the layout off-the-shelf kind of technology. Metallurgy is very easy, as mentioned earlier. It's crush, grind, ball mill, CIL, gravity, and very, very consistent overall. That's what It's basically off-the-shelf technology, nothing different than some of the other gold mines in the country. I'll go through that. So we are basically through the development or study stage of for the asset. The PFS has been released. It was done in a very detailed-oriented manner, and the next step is DFS, which is expected to come out by the middle of next year. Concurrently, we are running a process to finance the project. We have had several expressions of interest from credit providers who, I think, appreciate the simplicity of the project and the jurisdiction. We have about 9 or 10 NDAs already signed with some of the credit providers, and we're progressing that forward. We have also brought on Terra Franca as our debt advisors. They're a boutique firm out of the UK. They work a lot in emerging markets, and we're very comfortable with their expertise, and they're going to be helping us progress the project finance process through to success. The timing of that, we want to get term sheets by the end of this year and hope to finalize the terms by the middle of next year, at which point we'll be in a position to make an investment decision, 2-year construction. So we are aiming to be in production by the middle of 2025. I think we covered that. Lycopodium did the study. Very likely they're going to carry out the DFS for us as well. Just the bit more details on the reserves. You can see a cross-section of a typical pit, still open at depth, very encouraging in terms of the opportunity to expand resources and reserves. We covered Ondundu, just some details on the resource. It's inferred. At this point, we'll be doing some more drilling. It is a nuggety deposit, so it's very important to go back and drill it in tighter spacing, obviously, to get a better idea of the grade. We do feel that grade is likely to go up due to the nuggety nature of the deposit. Some relative valuation figures here. I think it's it's nice to see the reserves and where they place us in terms of our peers. In terms of reserves, we're very close to where Marathon and G Mining and some of the other much larger cap companies are at. Obviously, some of them are financed, but it's the company has progressed very quickly, and we're very proud to have over 2 million ounces in reserves. We're trading pretty cheaply, and with some of the de-risking measures that we'll be taking in the next few months, we do expect a major re-rate. Hopefully, the market will also cooperate. Something I didn't mention earlier was permitting. Our permitting is in very advanced stages. We just announced that we got a conditional 20-year mining permit. The conditions attached to it are customary. We're working through them, and we do expect to be shovel-ready by the middle of next year. And I think we have some more details here for you if you'd like to go back and see the CapEx breakdown. Quick note on ESG. It's very near and dear to our heart. As I mentioned earlier, our CEO, Haya Don, is from Namibia, and he wants to do the right thing and be responsible miners. We communicate very frequently with the B2Gold, where they've done a tremendous job at Otjikoto to exemplify what responsible mining looks like. And we're definitely in constant talks with them on that front. And also, we'll be releasing our first sustainability report in the next, I would say, few weeks to a couple of months to show what responsible mining means to us.